Hey guys, how you doing? Making my to-do list. Do you guys do that? Do you guys make to-do lists? I live by to-do lists. I can't be without them. All right. So, how you guys doing? So, welcome Thursday night, and we're here tonight for short stories. So every night, I'm just every night. Could you imagine every night? You'd be so sick of me. Every Thursday. For a little while, we're gonna I just want to touch upon a little highlight of a reading that I did. And my purpose for it is to kind of give you a better understanding about mediumship. There's some people who just don't understand it. Obviously, those that have had readings, you know what it's like, right? But there's, maybe several that have never, had readings or don't really get it or understand it. They want to know a little bit more about it. And so I thought, why not just share a little highlight of a story? I thought that would be always good. Those of you that know me, I'm really passionate about mediumship, and I really treasure the work. I really do. I really do. I really believe it's an honor to represent the spirit world in the way that a medium does. And, I think probably a lot of mediums feel the same way. Um, Somebody had asked me once, like, what if you didn't have this ability? Like, what would how would you feel about that? Or, what would you do? And I think I'd pass out. I mean, it's like, I love it so much. And I can't even imagine my life not with it. So, but, I remember getting asked that more than once actually. And I mean, I just can't even imagine not having this ability to do this work. I'm really passionate about it. So tonight I'm just gonna share another quick story. These letters from spirit. Short stories won't be long. Um, and it was kind of funny too. Like, this isn't part of the story that I'm going to be touching upon, but I was just finishing a reading, and I was and I was connecting with the other side, and I had a woman with me on Zoom, and I was doing this reading, and it was just today, and I was like, oh my gosh. So this airplane, like in my clairvoyance, I'm really clairvoyant, and so this airplane flew in over me, like flew right over my head, and made a perfect landing, like literally right in front of me. And it was like clairvoyant. I'm like, oh, okay. So I was like, all right, I got a guy here. He's a husband, and I feel like he flies planes. And she goes, that's my husband. And he was really good with those planes. I'm like, yeah, he must be, because he just like landed it right in front of me. So that was really cute, because I've brought in people before who flew or who was a pilot or something, but I never had anyone that actually flew an airplane right over my head and land right in front of me. So I thought that was kind of funny. Let me just see who's here really quick. Let me just say hi to a couple of you. Hey, Vicky. Hey, Melissa. Hey, Brianna. Hi, Paula. Hi, Joyce. Hey, Carrie. You always say, hey, Monica. Hey, Carrie. I love that. Hi, Christine. Hey, Pamela. Hi, Arlene. Thanks, you guys, for chiming in. So, I just thought that was kind of funny. Isn't that funny? It's like the airplane just kind of flew right over my head and then landed right in front of me. And I'm like, and then I just knew. And then this whole conversation went. I always say, like, when you get clairvoyant images, you have to open up the picture, because there's information in the image that they give you. So this was like a moving picture, because the plane was actually flying over my head. But I knew from that, not only did he fly planes, but they traveled a lot and went to a lot of places, and they saw a lot of the world together, which was in fact so. So anyway, that was just kind of a fun little fact here today in my last reading. So I just thought that was kind of cool how the husband decided to come in and make his grand entrance with an airplane. All right. So, okay. So anyway, so Thursday nights are going to be doing these little short stories. They're going to be quick. And then Mondays, I do my letters from spirit. I will not be coming on this Monday. I have a scheduling conflict this Monday, so I can't come on this Monday. So I'll be back the following Monday. Okay. So I just want to FYI, not this Monday. Coming up November 2nd, November 2nd, November 1st, November 1st, right? Whatever that is, whatever that Monday is. I won't be able to make it. So I just want to FYI to you guys, sorry about that, but I just can't get away from this conflict of the schedule. So we'll resume the following week. Anyway, okay. So I want to talk about my stories. So yeah, last week's the story was a little bit longer because it had a little more detail to kind of bridge into what these stories are going to be about. So this story I want to share is about a gentleman that came to see me. So I had a man that came to see me, and he showed up 15 minutes late for his reading, and really nervous. And so we sat down and we had to get kind of going because he was already late and I had a client after him. So as I sat with him, I instantly felt a few people. So I felt a friend of his that was with me for him, and a woman who I felt to be an aunt, and a father. And all of those three relationships were accurate and were correct. And I brought in each one. So, the aunt came in, they were like, he was like a son to her. They had a wonderful relationship. She really just kind of came in to say, I love you. You were so important to me. She shared some different things about towards the end of her life. But that's not really what I wanted to share today. So I won't go into that. So then I bring in his friend, and I felt with this friend, I said, this is a friend of yours that's coming in. And I said, you've known him a long time. I said, he tells me you know him from school. And that's what I know. And this man comes in, he has scars all over his face. So he just shows me these scars or lesions or something all over his face. And you would know a friend like that. And he says, yes, I do. I have a friend from years. And we did go to school, college. And he did have scars all over his face. That's true. And I said, okay, fantastic. He's coming in. He tells me that you were just talking about him or just talking to him or something, or talking about him. He says, yes, on the car ride over. I invited him to come. And I said, well, hi, there he is. So there he was. And so he thought that was really cool. And I said, this fella, this friend of yours tells me you had a very different upbringing and that the two of you had a very different upbringing in life. His was very rough and much harder than yours. Would that make sense to you? He says, most definitely. And I said, yeah, he just kind of tells me that. And he wants to come in and say thank you because he tells me that he left behind a woman in his life. He left behind a woman. He says that you've been really good to the woman, and he wants to say thank you for that. And he says, yes, that was his wife, and I have been. I've been around and supporting her. So yes, that's true. And I said, can you please? He wants to give you a message besides saying thank you to you. He wants to please let her know that he's okay because she's worrying about him. And he says, that's true. We were just speaking about him not long ago when I saw her last, and that's true. And let me just fix this internet. Is that not? Hold on a minute. Ugh, hang on a minute. Okay, there we go. Okay, here we go, back. All right, so anyway, and so this is not what I want to share either in regards to this story. So that's not what I want to share either about this reading. But I just wanted to share that part of it because it was interesting because he had just invited him. And so I tell a lot of my clients, invite your loved ones in and they'll show up. And so that's just kind of an example because he said, you were just talking about me. He goes, yeah, on the way over, I invited him in. So, okay. So anyway, so that was kind of that. But then I felt his father. And that's where I want to talk about. So his dad comes into the reading and I feel this gentleman and he starts talking about himself, as they do. Sometimes they want to talk about themselves. And but what he first starts talking about is the way he passed. I said, your father is here, and he makes me aware that he passed from a very serious illness. He had a very debilitating disease. Would that make sense to you? And he said, yes, absolutely. And I said, he's just telling me that you struggled very much seeing his demise, that you really struggled with the way you saw your father going through this, the way the disease was affecting him. And he says, yes. And he says, and I said, your dad makes me aware that through this illness that you saw him go through, that you spend a lot of time worrying that you are going to have that same illness. And you're afraid that you're going to get the same thing that your dad had and you would pass the same way. Would that make sense to you? And he got a little emotional and he said, wow, yes, my father passed from ALS and it was horrible to watch. And it's affected me greatly. That's true. And yes, I think about it all the time. I worry that it's genetic. I worry it's genetic, and I worry that I'm going to also get it too. And I said, well, your father wants you to come in and say that his life path was not yours. And to not worry about that. And, that his path was different than your path, and not to worry. And he says, wow. And I said, but now your father kind of tells me that you have all of his clothes. And he tells me that you actually wear his clothes. Would that make sense? And he says, yeah, I have a lot of my dad's, like a lot of my dad's clothes. And actually the shirt that I'm wearing right now is my dad's. And I said, fantastic. I said, because your dad knows. And so he just wants you to be aware of that, you see. He's aware of you wearing all of his, that you wear his clothes. And wonderful, you have his shirt on. I said, your father tells me that he's a really smart guy. And he says, yeah. And I said, now he wants to go there, but first he tells me that you also were looking for his shoes. Would you understand that? Were you recently just looking for your father's shoes? Because this is what I'm understanding from your dad. I want to know if this is accurate. Would you understand that? And he says, yes. He says, the reason why I was late to this appointment was I was looking for my dad's shoes. I wanted to wear them with the shirt, but I couldn't find them anywhere. And I know I have them, but I couldn't find his shoes, but I was looking. And I said, okay, well, your dad knows you were on the hunt for his shoes. And he says, no, your dad tells me that he's really smart. And the guy goes, oh, yeah. And I said, he's really smart. He has a real keen sense of business. Would you understand that? And he says, definitely. And I said, he tells me that he just had a sixth sense about knowing what to do with business. And like every business he had was just successful, no matter what it was. It really drove him. I just know that was very passionate for your dad to create these businesses and to be a businessman like that. And that success was really important for your dad. And he really thrived in it. Would that make sense with your dad? He says, oh, absolutely. He just was so smart and he was so successful in anything he touched. It was just, he was fantastic at it. And I said, wonderful. I said, because this is what he's kind of talking about. Now he tells me that you are trying to be like your dad. And he makes me aware that you are trying to live life like your dad did. And you're trying to do things like your dad did. Can you accept that? And he was quiet for a second. And he said, well, yeah, I am. And I said, because your father's kind of making me aware that you are kind of having a little bit of a hard time in your life, that you're struggling a little bit in your life and you're not really very happy. And he tells me that you are spending a lot of your time trying to do things like your dad did. And he says, yes, I'm running my dad's business and I'm struggling and I'm having a hard time with it. And I'm trying to, do things like my dad did. And I said, okay. And I just kind of sat a second. And then I said, your father wants you to know that those shoes of his that you were looking for, you didn't find them for a reason. He says they're not your shoes to wear, that you don't have to go through life trying to fit into his shoes. That those were his shoes and those shoes were for him. And you need to be in your own shoes and do what makes you happy and to not try to wear shoes that were his. Would that make sense for you? And he got a little bit taken aback because he said, wow, I am really, I really was trying to do everything the way my dad did. And I'm struggling and I'm not very happy at all because I'm not doing anything that I like doing. I'm too focused on doing these things that I think my dad would want me to do. And I said, well, your father's coming in and telling you not to wear his shoes. He says, that's why you didn't find them today. And that's why you don't have them on your feet. Because starting today, you need to wear your own shoes and not wear his. Because your own shoes is what's going to make you happy, not trying to fit into his. And he says to me, wow. He says, Monica, I was nervous coming here today because I was afraid that my dad would come forward and he would be disappointed in me because I wasn't doing it as well as my dad. And I was really nervous that he was going to be let down by me and disappointed. And he says, to hear this message, he starts crying. And he says, you have no idea what this has done for me. And, it's a small piece of this reading, but it's important and it's powerful because our loved ones know what we need to hear. That dad knew his son was struggling. That father knew that he was trying to do everything the way his dad did. And it wasn't resonating with him because they were not into doing things the same way. What was passionate to his father was not what was passionate to him. And so there was this conflict within him, and because of it he wasn't having any fun, or he wasn't happy, and he was struggling because he wasn't being authentic to himself. And his father was stepping in to say, let me release that burden from your heart. You don't have to wear my shoes. You don't have to do things my way. You could do it your way. Find the shoes that fit you and be authentic in what you enjoy. And don't worry about what I enjoyed and wearing my shoes. So that was just a little piece of a reading that I just kind of wanted to share because, maybe there's a message in that for some other people too, because, maybe there's other people here that maybe try to live, to please somebody else, right? Maybe there's someone here that who has tried to please somebody else and it never really work out well, right? Like trying to do things that don't really feel good to you, but you do it anyway because you're trying to make somebody else happy or make someone else proud of you or make somebody else, accept you. And I thought it was really powerful that this dad stepped in today, recognizing his son was struggling and that he could not find the shoes. Isn't that interesting? That he found the shirt, but when it came to the shoes, he looked everywhere. He was 15 minutes late to our reading, couldn't find the shoes. And he goes, I know I have them. I couldn't find them anywhere. It was like it was symbolic. You see, it was a message saying, because they're not for you to wear, and we need to stop wearing shoes and try to fit in to somebody else's agenda opposed to your own, And so his dad was very motivated and very moved and very into his work and his career, but this guy wasn't. He was into music because the reading went on, and then I started turning it into a little bit of a soul session because his dad moved me into helping him to step into his life more authentically and to start getting back to doing things that made him happy so he can have better balance. So, his dad brought me into this message, and then his dad moved me into me speaking to him about his life and how to help him and give him a lift up to kind of help redirect him to start doing things differently so that he can have more joy in his life. And I thought it was kind of really powerful, actually. It's a little piece, but it's a big piece. What do you guys think about that? Do you guys have any comments on that? What do you think? I can't find my cursor. Hi, Paula. Wow. Hold on. Did you duck as it came in? Actually, I did. Actually, I did. I kind of went like that. Actually, I did. That's with the plane. Yes. Hi, Anne. Hi, Tracy. Hey, Kathy. November 2nd. Yeah, I won't be here on November 2nd. It'll be the following week. Oh my God, I'm bawling. Hi, Vicki. So beautiful. What a huge relief and stress you help lift off your sons. But that's the thing, Brianna. That's like the spirit world, right? Because that's why I always say your loved ones know what you need to hear. That's why I don't ask questions. I just allow. And if I can just allow myself to allow your loved ones to come real close to me and just allow them to express what they know you need, you're going to get the reading that you need. And, and it was lovely. His friend came in and his aunt came in and all that. But that dad had an agenda. But that's how dad was in life. He was very focused and he was very into getting things done and being successful at it. So he got right to the point and said, hey, stop wearing my shoes. And he used his own shoes with the son looking for them as an analogy for him to say, hey, my shoes, not yours. Wear your tennis shoes. They feel better for you. My shoes don't feel good for you. Wear your own shoes. And it was this wonderful analogy that dad gave him to release that from his heart, to stop trying to go every day to work and stop living his life trying to please him, that his dad is very happy with who he is, and he wants his son to be happy with who he is. And he recognized his son was not authentic to his own life and to his own joy and to the things that made him happy. He loved music. He loved music. He loved doing things like that. And this reminds me also of another reading that I did with this guy that came to me. It was another guy, actually, who came here in my office, actually, and he was a lawyer. And, and this wasn't about his dad or anything, but he was a lawyer and he hated being a lawyer, hated it. And he didn't want to do that. And so I was doing a soul session with him. It wasn't a mediumship reading, it was a soul session, where I kind of just help him forward. And I said, well, what's up? And he says I just hate being a lawyer. And so I said, what do you want to do? And he goes, I like gaming. And I said, you like gaming, like video gaming? He goes, yeah. But no one thinks I can do it. And I said, but you like it? He goes, yeah. And so we went through this whole thing, and I kind of showed him another way how he can start stepping into his life a little bit, being authentic, that understanding that when you have a passion about something, there's a reason, move with it. And so I kind of inspired him to kind of go for it. And you know what, that guy, he has an amazing gaming business now, like amazing gaming business that nobody really thought he should do it because he's a lawyer and the families were lawyers and he had this education, but it wasn't fulfilling him. So the gaming was something big. And so he went wholeheartedly into it, and boom, so happy. He came back again, and we sat again, like, I don't know, 8 months later, a year later. And it was like everything in his life changed. His smile on his face was huge. He came in, he says, he came to thank me for how he turned his life around because of that reading. And but it was really him just finally listening to the passion that he had within him and moving with it. And he just, his whole life changed because of that. And it was amazing. And so I just want to kind of say, like, it's important to live authentically. It really is. And the spirit world, like this guy's dad with this reading we shared today, he wasn't living authentically because the things he loved to do, he wasn't doing. And he wasn't happy because of it. And he was coming into the reading nervous. His dad was going to be disappointed in him. But his dad was just saying, be you. Stop trying to be me. Be you. And it just lifted a huge burden off of his heart. And I just think it's a little message, but it's a big message, don't you think? I think so. Hi, Melissa. Great reading and message for everyone, right? And I think we can all probably say that a little bit, right? That sometimes we are trying to do something to make somebody else happy. And we need to really make sure that we're making ourselves happy. And, one of the things about mediumship readings is, even like when we do audience readings, like there's something you take away from those audience readings. There's something that touches you too, because you might connect a little bit with some of those messages. And that's why I say today, here's an example, like, is there a part of you that you're doing things that you don't like doing, but you're doing them anyway, and you're wondering why you're not happy? And you're wondering why it's not working, and you're wondering why it's not successful? See, this is why mediums are in our lives. Monica, do you feel or hear these folks as you are telling this story? And also remember your shoe letter from Spirit. Yeah, as a matter of fact, yeah. As they actually dropped that piece into my brain as a download. That's why when I paused and I was getting more information, he dropped that in. So he pushed that in for me. And so, yeah, that's kind of how I knew the direction he kind of wanted to go a little bit as he was moving me there. So, yeah. And I'm sorry, do you feel or hear these folks as you are telling the story? Yeah, often when I give the stories or like, I'm always feeling kind of spirit around me. Like when I do my letters from Spirit, I'm always feeling the guides press upon me and move in me, right? Because they feel a certain way to me. And so I always know when it's the guides. And so I always feel them kind of come in because they come in kind of real strong. And with the loved ones, I'll get certain feelings. Yeah, so I'll just know, yes. But they know I'm not giving readings, so they don't come in with like a bunch of data to kind of share because I don't set that intention to actually give readings when I'm doing these lives. If I would set that intent, then yes, they would be doing that. But they're not giving me messages for other people during these lives because I don't set the intent. They know why I'm working, just like that dad knew what his son needed, and he was watching his son and how he was struggling. The guides and loved ones and stuff, they know if I'm here to give readings, and they know if I'm here to just share a story and help maybe give you a better understanding of mediumship. And then my guides will press upon me things to move me to help address something. Does that make sense? That's a long answer. All right. Hi, Lorraine. How are you, honey? Very uplifting. I can totally relate. See, Paula, sometimes like Spirit will never give something that you couldn't also relate to. I take so much away from so many readings. I feel like my heart's always getting lifted after every reading for one reason or another. Because there's always something I can take away from it too. Hi, Carrie. Very powerful message. What a stress relief for his son. He knew exactly what he needed to hear to move on and be happy and not feel guilty. And guys, and that's the same with your loved ones. Your loved ones in Spirit know what you need to. They know what you're going through. They know what you're struggling with. They know when you're turning the corner and being happy. They know. They're so close around you. They really are. And so that's why I like to share these little stories, because it helps you to understand that our loved ones are not far away. Okay? I always say like, the spirit world, it's like, and I say this to some of my clients, it's like a 3-story house. We are on the first floor, the physical floor. And then when I do my mediumship readings, I elevate to the second floor. That's like your bonus room, right in the house. If you have a 2-story house, your rumpus room, your bonus room. I elevate to that second floor. Our loved ones are on the third floor and they elevate down to that second floor. And we kind of meet in the middle. And that's what happens. And every floor is just a vibration. So, and that's the difference. So, as I'm elevating myself up to connect with the spirit world, I'm lifting my energy, I'm lifting my vibration, I'm getting my speed is increasing, and I'm lifting, and my vibration is lifting. You see, so I go to that second floor to have communion. But we're all one house. We're all one house, and it's just our physical world where we're living is on the first floor. And when we do our mediumship and we connect, even like maybe when you meditate a little bit, you elevate, your second floor, and then you have your third floor, which is your loved ones. So it's just kind of like if you're in the kitchen and and like your loved ones in the bedroom, you may not see them, but you can feel them and you just have a presence and know that they're around. So think of it that way. Does that make sense? I just think I like to keep it kind of like an easy analogy, but that's kind of how I see it, and that's how that works for me. Hi, Susan. They're not your shoes to fill. Exactly, exactly. They're not your shoes to fill. But we have to ask ourselves, like, how many times do we maybe go about maybe trying to fill our shoes with someone else's stuff? I think I've been guilty of that. There's been times where I wanted to make somebody, impressed or happy or, try to do, and I think the more you just become authentic and just live life what feels good to you, the happier you be. So when you leave all that stuff away and you just stay into what feels good to you and you follow that, you're always going to feel a lot more happiness, is what I say. Hi, Tracy. It's a powerful message. This is a sign to us all to carry on being who we are meant to be and not feel guilty. Yes, I have 2 quotes. You guys know I love quotes, so I got to share with quotes. Hi, Arlene. Do you ever not make a connection with the spirits? Do I ever not make a connection with the spirits? Gosh. I'm gonna knock on wood. There has been twice, and both times, only twice, and I'm going to tell you, I've done over 700 readings this year so far. And I'm talking about since I've been doing mediumship. I think twice I haven't been able to connect, or I felt them, but they wouldn't come in. But both time, it was the client was really angry. They were really mad at them, and they needed to go through a little bit more of that healing, because sometimes when we grieve, there are stepping stones of grief, right? We go through the different process, and sometimes we're mad. And when that happens, we need to kind of get past that a little bit. Coincidentally, now I can't say for sure if that's the reason, but it's a coincidence that both times they were really upset. They were really angry. And so I think that in those situations, spirit will always be around, but I don't think they want to step into that. Is my take. That's my experience. And now you might talk to another medium and they might give you a different experience. I can only speak from my experiences. There has been twice that I have not been able to make a connection, and both times it has been because they have been upset, really, really angry. And one of them, I said, I want you to come back in 6 months. And I gave her some stuff to work on, and she came back in 6 months. And I brought in her husband, and he was there. But she just needed a little bit more time, and it was just very clear. And so she came back like 6 months on the dot, and there it was. And I actually just saw her again the other day for a spiritual coaching session. So in my opinion, I think that's the only reason. Hope that answers your question. Hi, Jackie. Hey, Jackie. This is so reassuring and really helps us know we are never really alone. Never. Never. I mean, listen, there's that connection of love, that bond of, why would that break? One just elevated to another floor in the house, but they're still in your house. They're still in your life. They're still a part of you. They're still connected, always. Doesn't matter how long they've been on the other side. It doesn't matter any of that. Yoli, someone is in my home. Can you help me figure out who it is? I have an altar, so it's family. But who? Who do you think it is? Ask. Listen, I mean, they're coming to see you. You feel them, so you can obviously sense them. So just ask. Just ask who it is. And just very confidently, who is this? What do you get? What do you feel? What do you receive? What thought comes in your mind? What feeling do you get? What person comes into your mind or in your brain? What? I mean, spirit impresses upon you, like when I say I have a dad here and a friend here and an aunt here, like this client that I was just talking about, that reading, when I felt that, they were impressing themselves on me. They were just stepping in and they were just pressing themselves on me. They were just giving me the feeling of them. So just do the same. Ask, who is it? When I do my readings, I say, tell me who you are. Ask, right? So that's it. Oops, sorry. Almost moved the camera. Would our loved ones try and give us signs to try and get us on the right track if they see us struggling? 1,000%. I mean, look at the dad in this reading I just talked about. He was trying to tell him to stop trying to make me proud of you. I am proud of you. Like, don't try to impress me. Go do what's good for you. He was trying to put his son on the right track. They always are. I mean, I got to tell you, I had a bunch of readings this week, actually, that was a lot. Oh my God, I did a great one yesterday. There was a great one with a mom that came in. Well, I might share that as a story because that was a really good one. The mom gave a really good advice for her daughter. Maybe I'll share that as a story. Thank you for letting me know that. Thanks, Jackie. You just reminded me of that yesterday, one of yesterday's readings. Hi, Melissa. Love quotes too. I know, me too. I love the analogy. I've been collecting quotes since childhood. Yeah, Chris, right? Me too, actually. I've been into them. So, I learn a lot from quotes. They've actually been my greatest teachers. Well, no, my guides have been my greatest teachers. Besides my guides, quotes have really been my greatest teacher. Okay, let me just see if there's anything else, and then I'll read my quotes. You guys are so cute. You guys are so cute. Okay, so I know didn't want to make these long. So, okay, so here's my quote, and authenticity is the daily practice of letting go of who we think we're supposed to be and embrace who we are. That's from Brené Brown. And here's the second one. Happiness comes from being who you actually are instead of who you think you are supposed to be. Shonda Rhimes. So those are the two quotes for today that I thought was kind of nice with that message from that dad. And I think that's something we can all kind of take away, and maybe a little message we can all kind of keep in our back pocket a little bit, right? Just a little message to kind of keep us thinking about that, making sure, like, hey, is what I'm doing authentic? Does it feel good to me? Am I doing this to please another, or am I doing this to please me? And to know it's okay to please you. I mean, that reading went on for, it was a full reading, but I just gave you a snippet. But that reading with the guy with the dad, he was talking about his music and how he loved the music and how, he was talking about all these different things that he wanted to do. And, and listen, just like that little example I gave from, a spiritual coaching session I gave with the guy who was doing the gaming, who started to follow his inspiration and follow his dream and what he was really inspired to do. And when he could let go of the responsibility of, like, my family thinks I need to be a lawyer, so I got to be a lawyer, but it doesn't really resonate with me. And I could decide to be something else that really feels good and resonates with me. And once he turned that corner and actually did that, he's a happy guy, happy. So, so we just have to got to honor how we, what makes us excited and what inspires us. And like the dad in this reading, also in the reading we talked about, like, what inspired him and motivated him to be successful is not the same as his son. And it's okay. You don't have to get moved, and you don't have, what's going to fill your gas tank is going to be different than somebody else's. What filled that dad's gas tank and kept him going to have all these lovely businesses and be so amazing at it was different than his son. And it's totally fine. So anyway, okay. All right, guys. Any final questions? Let's see. Is there any final questions? Otherwise, I'll chime out. Hi, Sally. Jumped in late also. We'll watch the replay. Looking forward to it. Yeah, it'll be on replay in about 20 minutes or 10 minutes. Okay, good. I love the second quote. Yeah, Melissa, I thought that was good too. It really kind of resonated with the story today, huh? Spiritual coaching ? Yeah. So spiritual coaching is, you can find out about it on my website. I have a description on it, but it's really kind of help push you forward, to kind of help you, kind of like the guy with the gaming, like kind of down, like, I don't know what I should do. I don't know what I could, I'm not happy, da, 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 da. So it's kind of about pulling out the questions that you need to kind of ask yourself to kind of get you to have these light bulb moments and then be able to pivot you in a different direction, right? To kind of pivot you to something that feels better. Spiritual coaching sessions are an hour. They're 149. I am always doing them intuitively. So there's nothing that I don't do that is intuitive, but I really just stay away from the word, I don't want to tell people their futures and things like that. And when I do my readings, one of my readings yesterday, there was a whole thing came up, but it just has to pour out. And so, when it comes, it comes. And, but spiritual coaching is really just to kind of help you on your path a little bit, to help you uncover it and find it, and to kind of help you become aware of some of the signs that have been there all along that you just haven't been paying attention to. So sometimes, as Edgar kind of says, they put the flashlight on things, right? The guides, they talk about, I just want to put a flashlight here, put a flashlight here. It's kind of like me putting a flashlight there, and when I work with my coaching sessions, the guides are always with me too. I'm intuitively always connecting. But it is more of a conversation about, like, where are we? Where do we need to go? Tell me how this feels. Why are we doing? So I just kind of get you to ask the questions that sometimes we don't like to ask. And we just kind of ask that. And it's like, oh, huh. And then you kind of connect the dots. It's like, And then you kind of just get pivoted to another place. So it's different for everyone, but that's kind of what it is. It's about to help you forward, to help you kind of get you on a happy road, and to, yeah. So, and again, it's different for everyone, but that's what it is, Kathy. Okay, you can find that out on my website. Okay, it's on spiritual coaching. Yep. Okay, guys. Anyway, so I won't be on for Letters for Spirit on Monday because I have a conflict with the schedule conflict, so I can't be on. If anybody wants a reading with me, you can go on my website and book a personal reading with me. You can just go on my website and get one if you want. There's a calendar there. You can pick and choose a day and a time that works for you. It'll show up in the time zone that you're in. So just pick the time that works for you. That will be your time zone. It'll allocate to my time zone. If you want spiritual coaching, the same, you could do that as well. Anyway, you guys, thanks for popping on, and hope you enjoyed the little story. Next week I'll have another story, and I'll try to keep them all a little bit different, just to kind of keep the flavor. We'll try to make it 31 flavors. All the different flavors. So I'll try. So, okay, guys. Anyway, thanks so much. You guys have an amazing rest of the week and a beautiful weekend, and be good to yourself, okay? And take care of yourself and be happy. All right? Okay, guys. And until next time, bye.